5, 4, 3, 2.
Sends the message. It is what it is, show. It is what it is, show with Molly Bell, y'all. It is what it is, show with Molly Bell, y'all. It is what it is, show with Molly Bell. Straight out of Compton with truth to tell. Coming with the real and it ain't no act. Molly Bell giving up the good straight facts. It is what it is, show. It is what it is, show with Molly Bell, y'all. It is what it is, show. That's right.
That's right.
Wow, Keith, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Copyright that.
Yeah, for real.
Because one day when we break through and get real famous, that's gonna be worth something.
Yeah, you're already famous. You're already famous.
Thank you. Well, both of us are. But Keith, but for right now, that made me feel real good. Thank you so very much.
All right. I'm gonna try to start it off a little bit different today. Dear Lord, guide us this day, dear Lord. Give us the strength and give us the message that you need us to send. Give us the blessings and the anointing. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Gonna start it off right.
Yeah, because sometimes we get to say, I usually begin with reparations in memory of our ancestors. God bless whatever time it is, wherever you are. We're going to give God some praise, some honor, and glory. And we just going to tell it, because it is what it is, y'all.
That's right. It is what it is. We already got we got one guest over there that's over there with you. And we got another guest that just chimed in at the on the page. Compton girl, what's up? Compton girl, you right over there with Sister Molly Bell. You live in Compton. Molly Bell is a Compton icon. She should know who you are.
So who is it?
It's a lady that I met on the Kev Mac show, Kev Mac podcast, Compton girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's her name, Compton girl. Yeah. She's over there by you. She's in Compton too. So you guys probably rent.
Is her name Felicia?
That part I don't know. I don't know what her actual name is because sometimes people don't put the actual names up.
Okay, because I have she's called Compton Cowgirl.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Did you ever go? Well, before we get started, just a little chatting. Did you ever go to the over there where they have the horses over by the stables?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you ever go over there to the square dancing? Did you ever go to the square dancing over there?
I did back in the day, whenever they had something like that. I think that area is called, isn't that Richland Farms? Yeah, that's called Richland Farms in that area.
Okay.
When you got areas in your city with their own little name, that's when you're blowing up.
Right,
but only little name I knew was West Side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, my friend's mother, Miss Crenshaw, she used to make the dresses for the young ladies that used to be doing the square dancing, and she also used to make the shirts for the men, because sometimes they would have like square dancing clubs that would compete against each other, and she would make like the men's shirt would always be made out of the same material that the young ladies' dresses would be made out of, so they can match up. And she tried to get us to go. She tried to get us to go back in the day, but we were too busy running the streets and everything. And then one day, all those pretty girls came over there, and then all of a sudden, we got interested in square dancing. Yeah, I tell you, boy, those were the days.
That will do it. And sometimes, and they always have the horses in the parade. And I
Hmm.
can't think of a person's name. Uh, I think Mertz or something. Anyway, we marched for him in Compton. You remember a guy
Hmm.
named Mert? He got killed right at the light on Compton Boulevard, and Cliff and all of us were down there. Yeah, and so then we went to his house in Compton. Yeah, and so he really one day wanted the horses to be there because his son really the one was really involved. So I'm glad about that. And maybe Compton Cowgirl, maybe she could, I don't know if you get to write it in and say anything, but I'm glad.
Yeah. But you know what? It's Compton
Okay, did you freeze? Key, I can't hear you.
Compton. Uh-oh, what is my
I
thing
couldn't hear you. You're
doing here?
freezing.
Inglewood and Compton, they're big in heart and they're big in camaraderie and big in neighborhoods. As far as really stick together, my class of 75, we still have reunions all the time. We got picnics and barbecues and fish fries and all kind of stuff going on every year.
Yeah, well, our post office,
But we
and
got
you said your
next year we'll
class is
have our 50th anniversary coming up for our
class of
huh?
75.
What happened? Can you
Yeah, you keep going in and
yeah.
out too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm turning my phone off. I had to make sure I turn my phone off because I don't want to have anything with any kind of interfering with my modem. All right. So hopefully it won't fade out any longer. Anyway, let's get on topic. On topic here. Okay. Well, Compton girl just gave me a question. You want
All
to do
right.
that and then just answer this question, then we can get into the show. She said, what do you think about the Sonia Massie murder that happened in Illinois with the cop
Oh
that
God,
shot the lady in the kitchen?
I think that it's cold blooded. Police been doing
Mm-hmm.
that. Sheriff's been doing that. For a long time. George Floyd, and the list can go on and on and on. But I love the part when she says that when he was talking smart to her, she says, "I rebuke you in the name
Mm-hmm.
of Jesus." So
Mm-hmm.
if if my last words on this planet weren't me calling for my mother, then I most assuredly would love to have Jesus coming out of my mouth, and
You
that's what
got
she
that right.
did. But
Mm-hmm.
that's cold blooded, and I haven't been out because of my issues. I don't know if Compton Cowgirl knows that I have some issues, but I haven't been out. And I would love to have gone to a rally or a demonstration. I saw that Najee Ali was doing something, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but anyway, that's a good thing. That's all right. Whomever does it, that's a good thing. And who made that song called? I think it was Rick James. The fact that that happened, that's cold blooded. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was Rick that made that song.
Right,
But
right.
but if something were to happen to me or anybody that I love, I would love to say what was her last words. And last words are important, Compton Cowgirl, because
This is
we know.
Compton girl. You mixing her with your friend. This is Compton
Oh,
girl, not
okay,
Compton cowgirl.
okay, Compton Girl. Uh,
Uh,
we know what happened, even with our
mm,
Jesus. scripture said.
Mhm.
She said, I rebuke you in the name of in the name of Jesus. But when my
Oh, okay.
Jesus was on the cross, the
Yeah, we
last
got a
thing he
guest.
said,
Wow, we busy today. We got a guest.
okay,
Kel
the
Mack.
last thing,
Kel,
the last thing that my Jesus said,
there he is. What's up, Kel?
hey,
Can you
all
hear
right,
us?
how you doing?
Yeah, I hear you well. I'm letting the
All right.
woman.
Okay,
Okay,
okay. Go ahead, Molly. Finish what you were saying.
I was gonna say that Miss Massey, the last word that she said was, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And my
Hmm.
Jesus said, his last words were, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And he gave up the ghost. So that's
Yeah.
it. Who is that?
That's Kel Mack. This Kel Mack, he's what do you consider yourself, Kel Mack? A historian for LA, Los
Uh,
Angeles culture.
black LA gang historian.
Okay, okay. Kel,
Black.
I'm glad you came because Molly Bell is without a doubt uh, a activist activist in Los Angeles. Molly Bell from Compton,
Hmm.
uh, and she's been around for a minute, man. I'm telling you now. She knows what's your guy's name, doggone it. I was just looking at his thing over there. He had a video.
Taco, uh, I don't know, Vicky Lindsay, who's gone on to be with the Lord, and
Mhm.
so many more, uh, uh, just so many more. Because when they were coming up, Kev, when they were coming up, they were with this man. He's a football player named Jim Brown,
Mhm.
and I think it was called Community Cal, and they were part of that. A lot of them that did that, were really active in that. And I always like repeating what Jim Brown taught the gangs to say back in the day. And not knowing that you were going to be on here today, uh, Compton Cal, but Kevin, all right.
That's
I
Kev
told
Mack.
you
That's Kev Mack.
that, Kevin. Jim Brown says do three things when you're dealing with a problem. First, you eliminate the negative, establish the facts, and choose your best option.
Mm.
And that was the football player, Jim Brown. And they used to have an office right here on Compton Boulevard, uh, right
Mhm.
across, not too far from Popeye's Chicken right there.
Hmm.
So what you do?
I covered the gang history of the guys that Jim took up under his wing and taught life skills. The Crips and the Bloods and Pyros. So I do a lot of history on that, and I try to show that black gang members can reform. They can be rehabilitated. Most often, we rehabilitate ourselves. The system doesn't rehabilitate us. We have to want to change, and we can change. So when I interview these guys about starting gangs and being a part of gangs, I like to ask them, how did you evolve, and what is your message to the youth? That's how I usually end my interviews.
Wow, well that's powerful. Everybody needs to know where you come from.
Hmm.
Back in the day
Oh
when
yeah,
I was
without a
when
doubt.
I was young, I'm 77, Kev, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm 77, and when I would talk, they would ask stuff, and I would end up saying, where you coming from, what you have to say. I attended Freeway Ricky Ross's trial with his mother. I have the whole case. Maybe one day, if you're out here in Compton, you could come by and make a copy of it, so you
Okay.
could hear everything that went down with Freeway Ricky Ross.
Uh-huh.
And I had a chance to meet and talk with a lot of the gang members. Where I come from, off of the close place would be Alondra and Central. That was Crip property. That was Crip. I went to Compton High, and my girlfriend that's here now, She went to Compton High. And the irony is that Compton's colors were blue, and then Centennial's colors were
Red.
red. And then I'm not saying that somebody did that, but I am saying somebody did that, because I believe we used to talk about something called the hidden hand. I believe that there was a hidden hand in all of this. And Keith know I've talked about it, before, how they did all of this, how they finally, took all the payphones out the area.
Yeah.
And, put, drugs in our company, in our community. And I haven't seen it, but there's a Netflix, and it's about Compton. And I'm testifying in it because I told Deutsch, who was, over, I forgot, director anyway.
The head of the CIA. He was the head of the CIA.
Right, and I told
That was
him.
you talking about the Lamert Park. When they had was that at Lamert Park when he was investigating had the head of the CIA show up?
I'm trying to think,
or
was it at Lamert Park, or was it? But anyway, but it's a movie, a video, and
they made it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and Freeway Ricky Ross, about his trial, and it's just so much. Maybe at a later date, I could get a chance to meet you and let you have some awesome pictures, because I take a lot of pictures of a lot of things, and I even have pictures, not changing the subject, but when our new president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, when she was running for California state attorney general, I opened her headquarters. I emceed. I got beautiful pictures. I think, Keith, I may have sent you some. I don't know if I did.
Yeah, I got
or not.
some of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And in there. So now all the other dignitaries who were there, they calling me up. Did you get one with me and her? And I sent them to and I went back, and that was in 2010. So it goes. But why are you doing this report?
Well, again, number one, I want to show that we can be rehabilitated, because too many times I've seen white people, some black people as well, in the probation or parole offices and in the media saying that gang members can't be rehabilitated. So I'm sure you heard the rhetoric many years ago in the 90s where they used to say, lock them up and throw away the key. Put these black guys or let them live the rest of their life in jail. And then they came with the 3 strikes in 1994. And I also fell up under 3 strikes. So I thought, why not do something? Why not get out, advocate against that? And of course, later on, that evolved into covering why people wanted to be part of a gang, why did they start a gang, and where, and things like that. So really kind of sort of to protect the black people that made bad choices and got caught up in gangs, because we just don't have a voice. At least back then, we didn't have a voice. Now you got podcasts and social media, YouTube, and stuff like that. And with Jim Brown's help, he educated a lot of brothers to start their own nonprofit organization. So now we have a lot of different voices, but back then in the 90s, we didn't really have no voice. We had white reporters come into our area, interview a couple of black people. Usually they would interview crackheads that looked ignorant, talked ignorant, and help to push their agenda that we were nothing but a violent, non-rehabilitated human beings in the ghetto. So that's why.
Right.
And then, like I said, when I got onto the gang history, I want to know, why am I fighting this guy on the other side of town? I wasn't there when the war started, so I want to know, why did I inherit this beef? Why am I not supposed to like the guys across town? So it got real interesting when I would start asking people who were my so-called enemies why. That's the question, why? And then it's like, oh shit, we all the same. Everybody's story is the damn same, except for they lived in a
Yep.
different community.
Yeah, like I know you
Right,
probably
right. We
already
all got set
talked
up the
to,
same way.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I guess you probably have already talked to Skip Townsend and
Yeah.
others. Now remember, I'm 77,
Mhm.
so to know them from back in the day,
You still act?
I went, and the day that the civil unrest, April 29th, 1992, that's the day the Crips and the Blood had their truce.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had their truce, then we had to deal with what happened with the LA Four,
Yeah.
with Rodney King and
Yeah.
everything. And so we had the gang truce. And so, I tried not to be in a gang. I wasn't in a gang, but I also knew boundaries
Mm-hmm.
as to where we were. I think it was either Taco or Skip. One of them uh, used to talk to the gang members and talk to them about Superman. And he would say that Superman could jump high buildings, faster than a speeded bullet, could do all of this. He says, but only thing that could hurt Superman was when he went back to his home planet or somebody had his kryptonite. His past was the only thing that could destroy it.
Mm.
And that was the kryptonite.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about gang members. This is how when they talk to
Right,
me,
right.
and this is how
Yeah.
we talk
Didn't you
about
do it?
that.
Didn't you, Molly? Didn't you do something with Melvin Farmer
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Melvin
at one
Farmer.
time?
Yeah, Melvin Farmer. He had
Yeah.
been incarcerated for so long, and for him to get out. So I know a lot of them. Even when we were going to court for the LAPD that beat up Rodney King, and a gang member named Easy E. He was there for Officer Brasenio because Brasenio tried to stop the fight, tried to stop him, stop the other police. And then later on, and I got pictures of myself with Easy E, and just a lot of it. And
Mhm.
you see how old I am.
Mm-hmm.
At
You
77,
got
I
more. You
was
probably got more
these were
pictures.
young
She
people.
sound like she got about as many pictures as you got, Kel, Mac. I know
Like,
you got a lot of pictures too. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
I
look. I don't even have a photo album. I know y'all got albums full of pictures.
I have so much, and I still have one of Easy E's original cards, Ruthless Records,
Oh, okay,
his
okay.
business card.
mm,
So I'm just saying that I'm so glad that you're asking. I hope you're getting the right answers for the questions that you're answering. And
sometimes.
when this is over with, make sure Keith give you my information. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt. Without a doubt. Okay, one more question, Kev. I want to hit you with a couple of questions right quick.
Yeah.
Then I want to get back to my interview with Molly. The I was listening at your show one day, and you were talking about doing like an intervention or trying to get a ceasefire going or something going, working in LA, some peace talks. Give me
Uh-huh.
a little rundown on what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do now.
All
What you're
right.
working on.
I'm gonna try to give you a full scope. So what's going on now? As you know, a lot of brothers have been to prison, many for an extended stay. And these guys know once you go to prison, you know that all that black on black violence pretty much is dead. You know, black man is not your enemy if you're a black man when you get in there. So again, the so-called enemy, your brother, becomes your friend or acquaintance because you guys For one, you're doing hard time together. You locked up away from family. For two, you're living in the same house, cell, or building together every day. So you become, you learn to communicate with each other. And most often you learn to respect each other. So those guys come on for prison. Even the guys who did short sentences, they come on for prison. They're not looking for war no more. They're not looking to go hurt another black guy because they've come to find out we have so much in common. And when our backs are against the wall, we're going to help each other. We're on the same team. So I say that to say, you got all these brothers from all over LA, West LA, Compton, Watts, DeWardy, Pomona, so Inglewood, everywhere. So you got all these brothers that's calling me up. And they saying, hey, Kev, you got a big platform. You should do this, that, and the other. And I tell them, well, you have the big name and the big reputation. You should do it. But none of them want to do it. They don't want to put their name on it in case something goes wrong. They don't want to look bad, and they don't want to take the brunt of the blame. So I thought of a bright idea. Since all these guys are calling me, why don't I just put them all together and assemble them like you would, when you're making a car. You need an axle, you need tires, you need the bolts and screws. So I said, I'll just get everybody on one accord and we'll come talk about it. So we'll have a discussion amongst men about a permanent ceasefire, not no truce, not no, hey, let's stop shooting for a month, but forever. So what I want to get out of it, I want all these OGs to bring a youngster that's still out there gangbanging. And I want the youngsters to get together, meet each other, and let the youngsters see how the OGs can sit and communicate and talk with each other peacefully and take that back to their community and let all their peers, let their young teenagers and early 20s and early 30s know this is what the OGs are doing, man. I got to meet such and such and such and such. They're good people. They have a positive thing going on. Let's stop the killing. So that's what the hopes is and the reason for this meeting that I put together.
So when is the meeting?
Wow.
It's going to be August 31st.
Yeah. Why did you? I know you already know that August is called Black August.
Yes.
This is our liberation month. You know, that we fought for all that we needed to fight for. So Black August is the time, and I can't think of the actor. I used to see him around here. What's his name? He played in a lot of movies, and he had a sleepy eye. I can't think of his name. Tiny.
Oh, Zeus Lester.
Yeah.
Tiny Zeus Lester.
Yeah.
Oh, Zeus. Yeah. That was Zeus. Yeah. Yeah. Tiny Lester. Yeah.
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 Lena said he died.
Yeah, I think he passed.
Yeah, I was Tiny. Molly. Oh, okay. I thought you had froze for a second.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. He passed away. Yeah, he did. A few years ago.
Yeah,
It's been at least about 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah. He came to parties at my house. Yeah, he said he came to parties. Lena, my girlfriend, is here. She's saying that he came to parties at her house. Her younger brother, the football player. What's your brother's name? That's Robin Cole. Have you ever heard of a football player named Robin Cole? Pittsburgh Steelers. On the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. Yes, that's my girlfriend that's sitting in here. That's her brother.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Small world, isn't it?
Tiny was our family.
It's a small world.
She said
okay.
And Tiny was there. Yeah, well, when we're gonna have to hook up and talk about it, because there's probably some things that, like I said, in that Netflix, they interviewed me, and I told them, where do we get cocaine from? We don't have no poppy fields out here. We don't have no place to grow none out here. I said, we don't have no airplanes to do it. And then one day, years later, I saw that movie with Denzel in it, and he, It broke it all down. And my brother that was killed in '66 in
Oh yeah,
Vietnam.
American Gangster.
Yeah. And my brother that was killed
Mm-hmm.
in '66 in Vietnam, a lot of the soldiers who came back, and I told them that they wouldn't let us open the casket, and they had a military man there all the time. And so some of them believe, and they believe this, I'm not saying that I do, that sometimes they would bring the drugs into our community and the caskets of dead Marines, of dead soldiers, and put them there. And we were never unable to open them. In fact, uh, some of myself and some other friends, my brother being killed as a Marine killed in the Marine in the war, he's buried out here at Lincoln. He should have been. Now my father, who was born in 1909, he's buried out in Riverside, and he didn't die to 2001, because that's where the national cemetery for
Yeah, the
soldiers
veterans. Yeah, the
and
veterans.
for the
Yeah.
veterans. And my brother
Mhm.
should be buried out there also, because he died in '66. My father didn't die until 2001. He was born in 1909. So there's so much that's going on. And I would love, once you get your book written, I would love to read it. I would love to talk to you about some of the people, and I could add some photographs if you want them, and they could help. And of course, there's some mayors. Our mayor, my favorite mayor, is Mayor Omar Bradley, and he knows everything about Compton, because he went to Centennial, which was red, and I went to Compton, which was blue, and so
Mhm.
things went down. Anyway, oh,
Yeah.
Kev, I
So
didn't
you
mean to
over there in
take up
Corner
all your
Pocket
time.
neighborhood. She in Corner Pocket neighborhood, Kel.
Okay. Okay. Now, Molly, I
Yeah.
want to touch on something about the secret hand. Now,
Yeah,
whether
it's called the hidden hand.
the hidden hand, the
Yeah.
hidden hand. Now, what parts of that are true or not true? It is very coincidental. And if there's not a hidden hand, there's definitely a psychological impact that they planted in our communities. Because how is it so coincidental that all the red schools are Bloods and all the blue schools are Crips? It's not just Compton and Centennial, it's all over LA the same
Oh
way.
yeah. Oh yes. I'm just talking, and not only that. Keith and I were talking a couple of weeks ago on another show about how all of a sudden we're not cowboys, and then we get all these bandanas in the little stores, Newberries, red ones and blue ones, and then
At the liquor
when
store.
yeah, everywhere. I mean,
Everywhere.
none of this. Yeah, we say everywhere,
Everywhere.
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 Yeah. And so I'm just saying that there's always a hidden hand. There's
Yeah.
always somebody that's doing this. And there's so many books that have been written
Mhm.
about this. And like I said, I had my chance of meeting Jim Brown, and all the things that he would say. And so, but I didn't go to the gang meetings because I was older. And so what I did, Kev, I went and bought me a purple bandana,
Mhm.
because red and blue
Blue,
together makes what?
purple.
Purple.
Mhm.
And so went and bought me a purple bandana. And when I would go in the neighborhood, I would do that. But on April 29th, 1992, I have pictures where they put on the wall, Crips and Blood United. And
Mhm.
then we had the civil unrest. And that's the reason I just say there always,
Mhm.
there is always a hidden hand in all of this.
Okay. Hey,
Follow the
Kate.
money. Just follow the trail of dollars, and then that'll lead you right to the hidden hand every time. Because they make money think about this. They they give the drugs into the community. They sell the guns to the community, illegal. The cops come into the neighborhood, arrest you, take you to jail. The judge sentences you to go to prison. So now you got the prisons. Now you got private penitentiaries that make money off of you. It's a head count. So from the drugs to the penitentiary, everybody's making money off you. So it's basically put you back into a slavery situation all over again. And on that level, the state of Louisiana just voted back in November of 2023 to keep that 13th Amendment slavery issue on the books in the state of Louisiana. So if you go to jail, prison in the state of Louisiana, you revert back to being a slave. And so they use the legal system to put you in these situations, and they prosper from it. The more people they take off the streets, that's less votes against them. And like I said, they make money. I mean, they make so many different products in the penitentiary now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, I've done research on that. I lived up there in Palmdale, where they had that prison up there in Lancaster. It was at Miraloma prison, and they was working on computers. They were they was making about 30 different products at that prison. So and making 25 cents a day, 50 cents a day, when the person on the street, why is it you can get 100% employment in prison, but you got a 35% unemployment rate on the streets? The shit don't make sense. It makes no sense, and people are not thinking, man. You can't put yourself back into slavery like that. You know, you just can't do it. You know, follow the money. That's follow the money.
I'm in agreement with you on that, and the money that they make and the things that they do, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, people are making money. I don't know if they were ever in gangs or not, doing the Crip walk, you know, and dancing, you know, doing that and making songs about Crips and Bloods and doing so much, and lives were lost.
Yeah.
People were honest to God, hoping to die tonight, murdered. Their lives have been destroyed. Their families have been destroyed. They used to come back in here. I know, Kev, you may not remember it, but they used to have a real bad machine. It's called a Batarang.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then they would come in with Batarang, not just somebody knocking on your door and telling you come out. They would come in with Batarangs and tear down your house because of that. And so, you know, sometimes when I hear, like I said, Rick James, when he's saying cold-blooded, I mean, all of this is, it is what it is. That's the name of our show, Kev.
Okay.
And so, we have seen that, but that's the reason I'm hoping that one day a lot of the young people would get a chance to go back to Africa. I've been to Africa twice. I've been to Jamaica once. And then I did my DNA in 2004. And my family, the Reynolds family, we're from Sierra Leone. And that's right now, that's where all the diamonds come from. Especially my sister Christine, she must have known that because that's what she loved. The diamond. And then I got friends who love the cobalt, where that's how they use all the stuff that's in the machines now, is the cobalt. It's in Sierra Leone. And so I'm just saying, if we knew where we came from, if we knew who we really are, the United States I like the United States, but if you look at the continent of North America, the United States, it will fit in the continent of Africa 3 times. We're talking about large, huge. And so that's the reason we need to read a lot to find out who we are. And of course, you know, I have a relationship with Jesus the Christ, and I get to say whose we are, who we belong to, because I have a relationship with God that's second to none. But I'm just saying that we need to know who we are, who we belong to, and what we're going to do. You hear that airplane, Kev? I live right across the street from the airport,
Okay.
right across the street from where uh, uh, Serena and them played tennis, the tennis courts right there. And my parents bought this home in 1957.
Oh wow.
I was 10 years old, and I've been out of it the whole time.
You was still living in White Compton. You was in White Compton there, Molly, in
Oh yeah,
'57.
what's the
That
name?
means you was over there. How many black people were going to school with you when you was in elementary school?
Not
There's a
how many
question.
black folks was in? Not that many. Lots of Filipinos, and if you look it up, and you'll see that the Bushes,
Mm-hmm.
President Bush's them, they family lived off of
Oh, you talking
Alameda.
about George Bush? George Bush and them?
Yes,
George
Yeah.
Bush
yes,
and Jeb? Is that right?
yes,
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
right off of Alameda. And so I'm just saying that
Okay.
they wanted Compton, but they didn't want Compton to be what it was when they were here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did everything. And Keith, you know, I've told this story. I don't want to take up all your time, Kevin. I'll let them talk. But back in the day, when we lived in East LA, off of I don't know if you ever heard of this park called Hollenbach and
Yeah.
Big General Hospital.
Yes.
That's where we moved from. When we were little kids, you know, the cattle cars that they bring all the stuff in on, they
Mm-hmm.
would leave parked on the parking lots, empty lots, a whole bunch of stuff. They would have turnips left there and greens and chicken feet, which white folks didn't eat. And our mother and them would say, go up there and get some. Nobody was going to arrest us. Nobody did anything. And we did that for so long. And then next thing we know, when we got ready to move from there, they were leaving toys on those cattle cars, bikes, footballs, and stuff like that. And the young people would go there. Then when I moved out to Compton, and where the tracks are,
Mm-hmm.
they start putting big things on there. Next thing I know, that's where all the cocaine came in. That's where the weed came in. That's where it was. And when they even made it look like it's cool, because they had some little valves and they were brown and you could wear them around your neck and they call it tooting. You could toot the cocaine. Like, I'm just saying,
Superfly days.
yeah, and made Superfly a hero. And how many, and I'm not saying nothing against any of our rappers, but there's a whole bunch of rappers who are doing the Crip Walk and making money, and people were killed for doing the Crip Walk. Bloods were killed. And in the whole Watts area, we know what happened over there. The beautiful apartments they had, they tore them down and put projects up there. Oh no, it's a long story.
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
song that I like, and I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to give it back to my friend Keith. And it's a gospel song. And for me, if anyone should ever write my life story, for whatever reason there might be, I want the world to know that Jesus is the best thing that happened to
All
me.
right.
So I'm just,
All right.
I got it like
I'll
that.
go with that. Yeah,
Hey,
you
hey,
sound like you got a connection.
let
Go
me
ahead,
add,
Kev.
let me add this, Molly. You got me. You're my senior by 21 years. I didn't live to witness the toys come through and the bikes come through and then the vials come through. But guess what I witnessed? They
What is
was
that?
putting guns on them trains in my
Oh
day.
yeah. Yes. Yes. I didn't know.
Every major
Now
city, every major city
yeah,
did the
they
same
they
thing in
were putting
Chicago.
guns on
Same
there,
thing.
and
Mhm.
a guy named Gary Webb. You got to read his book.
Yeah, yeah.
Gary Webb. I met Gary Webb. Talked to him. He autographed his book for me. Gary Webb supposedly committed suicide and shot himself in the head twice. That's
Hmm.
some kind of suicide where you get to kill you, shoot yourself
Twice.
in
Some
the
kind of
head
shooting now. How
twice.
shoot yourself twice? Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. We know who
I'll
killed
tell
him.
you.
Talked about it. God, that they
Yeah,
was. Man, it's crazy. I want to
Yep.
say this. I don't know how much longer we gonna go, but before we do go, I want to compliment your earrings and your blouse or sweater or whatever the proper.
yeah. Wait a minute. It say black like this. That this is what I have on in my red, black, and green. You
Nice and.
know, our
I
liberation
feel you.
colors and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is Black August. Sometimes I just wear my regular clothes, but I knew that this was going to be Black August, and we were going to talk about the election.
Mhm.
Um, but I told Keith, Keith will have the video. He'll have it is what it is going on for 3 hours. And I say, Keith, do they listen? Well, they can always come back and stuff like that. I said, let's try to do it
Yeah.
just for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And so he tell me, okay, this is what he tell me, Kev. He said, well, it's your show. You could do it whatever time you want. And then I'm sitting there going to sleep because he even kept it going on so long. I'm just kidding on that part.
I,
Love
I,
you. Sis.
I love to hear our elderly black women talk. I used to love to hear my grandmother tell stories because, unfortunately, in a lot of black households, we don't hand down the history to our kids. And then we got to learn it from school,
Mhm.
from the Europeans and the textbook. Um, so I love to hear it from our elderly black women.
And for me,
Yep.
I'm glad to say I lived this life, but I didn't have to live
Mhm.
the life.
Yes.
I didn't.
Mhm.
Cocaine and crack and all that. That was like the airport over my head. I
Mhm.
knew about it, but I
Mhm.
wasn't gonna
Yeah.
do. That was nothing. That wasn't. I'm not gonna say anything about weed because that ain't nothing but a wild plant.
It's a
Stop,
wild herb, man. It's a herb.
stop telling them
But
it's
Kev, you right though, man. I had the same rate when I was raised. I used to love listening to the stories, and I still do. That's like, I mean, when I talk to my father, man, he tells me the stories about when he went to Chicago back in the 40s and all that. He was there when Muddy Waters and all these guys was showing up, and so I'm like, man, my ears just perk up when I
Mhm.
when I when I hear these stories, and that's
Mhm.
the way traditionally that's the way our heritage has been passed down by word of
That's
mouth
right.
and by stories all the way back to Africa. I mean, but we are the ones here. We're the original when it comes to knowledge. The first universities were in Africa, in Timbuktu.
That's right.
The first civilizations were in Africa. So all the stuff that they talk about, Greeks and Roman mythology and all that, they went to school in Africa, took it back to Rome and took it back to Greece, and then stuck their name on it like they created something.
Mhm.
So we got a history that's so deep, and you can find out all this history in a lot of college libraries, but the average library in the neighborhood, you're not gonna get all this type of knowledge. You're not gonna get it because they
Mhm.
don't want you to see it. Just like when Barack Obama won the presidency, the thing that they hated the most was the fact that Barack Obama was going to give young people hope to think, well, hey, he did it, I could do it too. They don't want a black leader. That's why they lock up all the black leaders. That's why they kill all the black leaders.
Mhm.
They have eliminated. So the Black Panthers are infiltrated. They tried to get the US organization and the Black Panthers to cancel each other out. They arrested every gang leader in the city of Chicago about 15 years ago. They arrested all the gang leaders and locked them all up. And what that ended up doing, now instead of having 30 gangs, now you got 250 gangs because the gang members are still there, and now they all doing their own thing with nobody leading them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The whole thing about cutting the head off does not work. They put Larry Hoover in jail almost 50 years ago, and the gangster disciples right now are worldwide, not just nationwide. They're worldwide, and he's in prison. So if you cut the head off, why you still got the head in jail if the everything else is still going on without him? That's the biggest lie they could have ever told about getting rid of the leaders. It still goes on.
And when Geronimo G. Jagger Pratt was in jail, I have a big sign that say "Free Geronimo, Free Geronimo." And then one day he asked his family, because I wasn't always an old lady, Kev. And so said, "Who is that young sister that had my sign out there?" I have beautiful, beautiful thank you cards from Geronimo. I have pictures of him when he was released. I went to Anaheim when Johnny Cochran got him out of jail. I was there the day that he marched out in Orange County. I'm there. I got pictures of him, his family. And then after he got out, he came to my church and talked to him. Have all kind of pictures of Geronimo, some, so many of the other brothers. On Friday, I listened to Dr. Karinga because I love the US organization and the things that they have done. People say, well, they used to fight. And I used to say, I know, because the Crips and Blood did too, but I knew the Crips and Blood. So, you're not going to get me on that. They said, why are you going to do that? I said, there's no way that I'm going to wake up in the morning and talk to Dr. Karinga and say Abarigani, and then say thank you, Asante Sana, and listen to what he has to say. Even for this election, one of his very best friends, Cornel West, and Dr. Melina Abdullah is running for president and vice president. And so we've asked Dr. Karinga, how should we vote? Dr. Karinga says, we as a Black people must vote for the best condition that we as a Black people will be in after the election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris and what's his name, first name? Waltz.
Yeah, Waltz.
Yeah, I'm voting for them because that's the best condition that we will be in when this is over with. I listened to Cornel West, got books, whoever was doing anything, I have it. And if you ever heard of a place called, Kevin, Westminster Neighborhood Association in Watts, under E. Grace Payne, I started a youth group called the Young Ladies and Young Men of Tomorrow. And we met on the campuses of Markham. We didn't meet on Fremont, but Fremont folks came. Lock Saints, Lock, and so many of the other schools. Yeah, Lock High. And so I'm just saying that our festivals, the other day, what's his name that's running with Kamala? I forgot his name that quick.
Yeah, it's Walz. It's Walz, the governor of Minnesota, Walz.
Tim Walz.
W-A-L-Z.
Yeah, Tim Walz.
Yeah.
When he finished
Tim Walz.
when he finished his speech, he made me so happy. You know what he said? He said, "Thank you for the joy." I had told Dr. Karinga I call in on black talk shows, Kevin.
Mm.
And so and I told Dominique a couple of weeks ago, about a month or two ago, I want my joy back. I want my joy back. And Waltz, when he finished, he said, thank you for the joy.
Mm.
And that's what we have to have. And that's why I appreciate Kev and Keith, K and K. Good thing it ain't another one of you. It was a two-foot
Oh no, you don't need that third K in there.
I'm just saying.
Not that third one.
So, right. I'm just saying. But
Unless it was my son or something on there, then that would be 3.
You're right. Well, I'm just
Go ahead,
saying
sister.
that I'm just saying that he, Tim Waltz, said, "Thank you for the joy," and that's why, in all my speaking, you have not heard me say anything bad about any of the gangs. Oh, we lost Kevin.
Oh,
I don't see it. Anyway, I don't say bad.
I don't know what happened.
I don't say, okay, I don't say bad things about the gangs, because as Keith, as you say, with the gangs, it is what it is. And that's all we can
It is
do.
what it is. Yeah. You know what, Molly? I'm thinking now that we're talking about on the subject, when wow, that, you know, that Pennsylvania governor, that governor of Pennsylvania, he brought the fire. And I was thinking, I'm scratching my head like, did she make a mistake here? Because that dude was on fire when he did his speech.
No.
He had me all excited. I don't really get excited when I listen to that kind of.
But you got to remember, one of the groups that we're going after is the young people. If you look at the young people downtown LA or everywhere, they are totally against what Israel is doing.
Yes.
And the governor
that's it.
of Israel, of Pennsylvania, he supports that.
Well, he's Jewish.
I know it. I know it. He supports it. And so Kamala, and I'll send you some pictures. When Kamala ran, if I didn't say it already, in 2010 as the Attorney General of California's Attorney General, I emceed her open house and took pictures of them, and I was telling you that earlier. But Kamala is smart. She is smart. So right now, the governor of Pennsylvania, he spoke up for the two of them. He spoke up for Kamala and Tim, like they were on the right side, because he knows the way that he spoke for them, that none of the Republicans are going to vote for him. So he had to do that, and he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid for that, for doing what he did. I like strategy.
Yep.
I like
right. But one thing he did, he lit the fire up under them. He lit a fire up under them because they couldn't come weak. They couldn't come weak. Not after that speech.
Well,
they couldn't come weak.
Well, Keith, this is what I came to talk about, Kevin. Since before you came, I was going to talk about the election. So you have to know, don't think that nobody came on that stage and didn't know what everybody was going to say. We don't roll like that. I would never, ever let somebody come on here and gonna say, Keith, I know Keith wasn't gonna let you come on, Kev, and say, yeah, I can't stand Compton. We didn't even have to practice that. You didn't even have to practice that. He over there in a whole nother state, burning up. I ain't saying nothing. He's burning up.
Hey, I got my AC on high. Got my AC on right now.
Yeah,
so
but that wasn't how it worked last week. And I think Kevin keeps getting calls or something. But all of them knew that. And when he writes his book, the governor of Pennsylvania, Those people love it, and we're going to win this. We got this. All we got to do is make sure that we get the people out and vote, make sure that we're making sure that it can't happen. Donald Trump is doing nothing. They ain't even talking about that fake earshot. I mean, about that earshot. Because I don't see how no bullet
there
this
you go.
big.
There he is. He back.
I don't see how
You know
a bullet
what? That
this
sucker.
big could do that ear.
Now you know that was staged. You know that was staged.
I
mean,
do.
come on now. All right. See, Ron, this is what happened. Now, Facebook, no, YouTube. This is what happened. I did that same day.
Get out my soda.
I did an article, right? I did an article, and I put it up, and I stated that I believe that it was staged. Now, since then, it's been 100 videos that came out on YouTube that said the exact same thing. My video got taken down the next day. It got taken down by YouTube the next day.
With the notice. What did the notice say? Tell Kevin what the notice said, right.
Whatever facts or whatever. They made me take a class. I had to take a class in order to get that strike off of my show. I had to take a class. Finish answer so many questions, and then once you answer those questions, well, they give you the answers. But once you answer those questions, then they'll put you back in good standing again. But if you get like 2 or 3 strikes, then they'll take your show off completely off YouTube, completely off.
Hey, my phone keep ringing.
I know that. That's what I told while you were gone, Kevin. I told Keith. I said he's getting a whole bunch of calls. Somebody's calling him, and you got to take that call. And if you have to leave or whatever you was fixing to say, we understand. Or if you just go and answer it and say, "Hey man, call me back. I'm doing a great show. Molly Bell is on it." And so I can't leave this queen like this. So call me back in a little while.
Well, to add to what you're saying, sure would like to interview you and have you come on my show someday. But don't worry, I'll be watching this show now that I know about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was.
Man.
There is a Kevin Bloodsoe out here. Had Bloodsoe barbecue. And so his mother, Jean Bloodsoe, and I went to worked at the post office together.
Okay.
And so did Keith. I guess you already know that Keith worked at the post office. He worked with me, and he did his undercover thing. He unloaded trucks. They've been doing it for a couple of weeks, and then the supervisor came out and asked him, "Who are you?" I said. That was the movie The Spook Who Unloaded the Truck instead of The Spook Who Sat by the Door.
Molly, that check I got was so fat for I had worked 15 days straight. I was too tired to cash it. I didn't get a chance to cash that check until 2 days later.
Hey Pete, thanks for the invite. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Nice to have met you.
Okay, Kel Mac. Hey, before you go, you said your meeting is going to be on August 30th. Is that what you said?
31st.
August 31st. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try. I get more information from you, and I'll try to post it up on one of my pages. So
Okay.
So,
and get my number.
That's a good thing, my brother.
Okay.
I'll make sure I give it to him. I'll make sure I give it to him. I'll hook you guys up. All right. Take care, my brother.
All right.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. But you know what, Molly? It's so now this is a true story. I got into a Facebook beef with Melvin Farmer. And it had something to do with the comment that he had made. And I don't know if it was on your YouTube, your Facebook page or not. But I was just being honest, because I found it kind of hypocritical. I don't think that way now, but I felt that it was kind of hypocritical at the time for him to make that particular statement, because I'm like, wow, man, you one of the guys that created all that madness back in the day. I remember because I was there. I know you were one of the guys that was keeping up a lot of confusion. So for you to say brothers need to stick together, okay. Like I said, I can deal with that now, but when I saw that, I just shook my head and said, I mean, I can't believe this is the guy that's saying that after all the hell he kept up back in the day.
Yeah,
But
I
we
think
all have our own crosses to bear.
yeah, I think I have his book too, Melvin Farmer, and I know
Mhm.
him very well. Not, you know, I knew him then very well, but I haven't seen him in years.
Right,
But
right.
you know, it's
I
so
don't have nothing
many.
against him. I don't have nothing against him. At that time, and I'm gonna correct myself. At that time, when I did that, I was upset.
Yeah, well,
After the fact, after we communicated or whatever, and then I realized, I said, well, wait a minute, you know, you're talking about a guy that's been locked up for so long that I've lived 3 lifetimes while you was locked up in jail living that one life.
yeah,
So I can't expect for you to understand how I feel about that situation because I was on the opposite side. I was on the side that was like, well, wait a minute. We came up growing, I'm black and I'm proud. So how do we go from being black and proud to now all of a sudden we want to murder each other? Where did all that madness come from? Because you can't tell me that the Crips were revolutionaries. Don't tell that lie to me. I don't want to hear that lie because
no,
revolutionaries do not rob black people. They do not want to beat down black people. They do not want to shoot and kill black people. Their thing is fighting for black people, not against black people. So get that straight. So that it rubbed me the wrong way. I ain't gonna lie, it rubbed me the wrong way, man. I couldn't
yeah,
take
well,
it. I couldn't. I had to speak up on it. I had to.
um, I don't have time, but I have 3 bookshelves in the house in the living room right here, and
Mm-hmm.
Melvin's book is in one of them. You know, and I read that some time ago, and I used to talk to him a lot of times, but I didn't know, like Kev say, I'm 21 years older than him. I'm 21 years older than him.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, huh? I don't want nobody saying, "Gosh, if she was living, she would be 21 years older than me." I'm living. I'm
Exactly.
living. And when
That's the
I
part they
even
missed. That's the part they
even
missed.
even sometimes when I see, and I love me some Snoop Dogg. When I see him
Mm-hmm.
do the crip walk, you know, do that little dance and do I and he's straight out of Long Beach, Strong Beach. You could put whatever name it is. And I never belonged to a gang, never did. But when you were talking about the other guy over over uh, Pennsylvania, when you
Mm-hmm.
have alliances and allegiance, when I lived here in Compton, before I left here and start being a hippie, which you've heard that story before, and born to San Francisco, I never was a hippie, but I
Mm-hmm.
understood what was going on, and I was against the war in Vietnam. My brother was killed there, and a whole bunch of other black men were killed there. And so, no,
Mm-hmm.
I was against that. I was against that war. And so, being against it, then I start going, hanging around. And that's when I think I told you, I met this man named Stokely Carmichael.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met Stokely uh, Carmichael, and that was his name then, but later on he became Kwame Ture because he asked me he was at 102nd Street Park, and he said, "What is a hippie?" And I said, "A person who dropped out of society." And he told me, "Sister, come up here and say that on the megaphone." And they act like Jesus and part Moses and parted the waters, you know, so I could get up to the PA system. And he said, "What is a hippie?" And I said, a person who dropped out of society. The crowd went crazy. And then he said, say it again, my sister. I said, a person who dropped out of society. And he said, and after the crowd quieted down, and then he looked right me in the face with holding the megaphone. And he says, how can you drop out of a society that you've never, ever been accepted in? I'm glad they didn't have the word molded out then, you know. I was molded. And that was my last day being a hippie. He said, when this is over with, white folks gonna take these little fake tattoos. You know, you could buy it on a piece of paper, wet it, and put it on. Yeah, stencils. You know, tattoos. Black folks was really doing it. You know, getting them done, because the stencils wouldn't show good, and so they were getting those tattoos on them. They were not going to work. They weren't having real jobs and stuff like that. And for a while, I didn't come to the post office until I worked at Westminster Neighborhood Association under E. Grace Payne. And she was a wonderful lady who helped us, and she let me start my youth group and do all that. And then I went to the post office when they were doing, you know, jobs. You know how they do jobs for us. And I got a job at the post office just part-time from 6 to 10, because you had to be in college. You had to be in school. You had to have doing stuff. And then that's how I got on at the post office and did it then. And so I'm just saying that it's hard. It's hard out there. And
it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah. And we're going to have to do another show. Go ahead.
We're going to have to do another show, but let me ask you this question, Molly, or this is my interpretation of what happened to Black society. And I'm going to talk about our golden age. You figure after the Civil War, you went through 100 years of suppression, the Jim Crow era. Even though we got so-called freedom, they came up with the South started with the Jim Crow laws first, and then the whole country started creating their own little Jim Crow laws to keep Black people suppressed. So after the signing of the Civil Rights Act in the 60s, when they signed it into law, that era from 65 to 75, I call the golden era for Blacks in America, because you could go straight out of high school and not just get any job. You could get good jobs, good paying jobs straight out of high school. I mean, and good paying jobs in those days were like you could go down to Northrop, because I had a job in Northrop when I was still in high school on 120th and Crenshaw.
Yeah.
The steel mills, aluminum mills. They had car factories out, a lot of car factories. Chevy had a car factory in the Valley. My ex-girlfriend's father used to work there. Black people started going to college. Yeah, Black people started going to college. Right. Yeah. Black people was going to college in larger numbers.
Yes.
We started getting mayors of different cities, Black mayors of different cities, and Detroit, Atlanta are the two that always come to my mind first of all. Then you had LA, they ended up getting a Black mayor. Then Chicago got a Black mayor, and then New York got a Black mayor.
You see what I'm saying? Bradley. Wasn't it Tom Bradley?
Yeah, it was Tom Bradley for LA. But see, when you start thinking about that opportunities that were existed from 1965 to 1975, we were accomplishing a lot of good things in the Black community.
That's right.
What we lost was our sense of community, because now that we started getting a little more money in our pocket and a little more prestige, we were no longer limited to staying in the quote unquote hood, then we started moving to these different locations. Because when I first moved to California, I actually lived in Carson first with some relatives that had a brand new house that they had built. And we were going to, this is a brand new house. So we were going to get a house built in Compton. I mean, not in Compton, but in Carson as well. Okay.
Wait a minute. But this was nobody lived here but us. We would come
right.
out.
So you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
We watch it being built. Yes.
Yeah. So our neighborhoods were together. We had our own stores. In my neighborhood that I grew up with in Chicago, Black people owned all the businesses in my neighborhood, all of them, all the stores, the supermarkets, the fish market, the shoe shop, the barber shop, the beauty shop, the little toy store that my best friend's uncle had a hobby shop. We had all the little nightclubs, all the little places that sold the liquor store. We had all of it, the hamburger joints. All of that was Black owned. The only white person I ever seen in my neighborhood was the principal of my school, because all the teachers were Black and the majority of them lived in my neighborhood. And I went to school with their kids. So that's why I was able to get a better education, because I'm getting the same education that they were giving their own kids. My neighborhood that I grew up in right to this day is still a predominantly Black neighborhood. And it was built from the ground up as such. But we lost a lot when we started moving out of the community. Look at what they're doing to Leimert Park right now. Those businesses that were in Leimert Park have got, when they say, well, we bringing the subway through, we're going to have the subway over here. And they tore up all the Crenshaw for all those years. And a lot of Black businesses got destroyed. And they'll probably
never the stores. May Company that was up in there, and Fashion Fair, I remember when you could go down there to Broadway, and then they had a fashion store called Zucker's. That was awesome, and then only time I saw some white folks most of the time was when they were on the corner passing out these little pamphlets. They call them tracts, about Jesus loves you and stuff like that. But we had it. We had it.
We had it.
Clubs, the clubs that we would go to, and
we own Black people own all the clubs in LA, all the nightclubs, from the Total Experience to all the clubs on Florence,
Maverick Flats,
the Name of the Game, Junior, all them clubs. So, but when the gangbanging came into play, and that's one reason why the powers that be didn't want to stop it, was because it destroyed the Black community. It destroyed the city. It kept us at odds with each other, was that we could no longer grow because we were too busy trying to annihilate each other. And right to this day, young Black people are shooting each other on sight. Not like, well, we used to box back in the day. In the old days, we used to box. And it's like, okay, you see the guy the next day, man, you shaking hands and you friends again. But see, now it's like, you ain't coming back. A guy pull a gun out and it's over. It's just a done deal. But now the guy that did it is getting ready to go to jail forever. He ain't never getting out. So that's two people's lives that have been destroyed, along with the families. And this is a story I want us to talk about one day, about how prison affects the entire family, not just the person that goes to jail. Because I watched how my mother suffered when my brother went to prison. I watched how she had a nervous breakdown, worrying about him. The family that's left behind suffers. That, like I said, we want to get on that on another day. But getting back on track with Kamala. How do you say Kamala? Kamala? Is it Kamala? Kamala? Okay, just like the word, just like a comma.
Yeah, Kamala.
All right. I did see a T-shirt that said that had a comma on it and a L-A. So I guess that's saying her name, Kamala. All right. But this was what we were supposed to have been talking about, but I jumped around. I jumped around. I'm guilty. Think about this.
Good
Now
thing we
the attacks,
good thing we're not back in those days, because if you're guilty, bam.
the attacks that Kamala and Tim are getting ready to. I call them Cam and Tim. Cam and Tim are getting ready to get attacked big time by the right wing media, Fox, and all the rest of those fake media
But they can't do that.
companies.
They're
going to be attacked verbally.
They don't have enough time. First of all, they had made all their stuff up for Biden. That's what they had made it up. That's the reason they wanted him to do it. Like I told you, and I did a whole thing on thieves in the temple. And there were some Democrats who wanted him to move out and not, do it ugly. And then even Joe Manchin already said he was going to run for president. And all like this, they thought it was going to happen a whole way. But Biden held out long enough so the people can say what it was. And then they weren't in a hurry to get rid of him. And so when he said, I'm through, and then when he said, I'm through, he says, I'm turning it over to Kamala. That's what I'm doing. And I support her, and I want her to be it. Now, booyah, we got a black woman who is about to be the president of the United States. So here come the thieves in the temple, throwing in Manchin and say, no, we're going to have a broker. We're going to see. And we don't even have enough time to do all that. So they wanted Trump to win. Trump already made up all of his stuff for Kamala, whatever he was going to say, but not expecting it to be like that. But instead, the people got behind her, fell in love with her. They raised off $310 million right off the top. They did
just
that.
made 35 million. They made 35 million more since she announced.
Right.
Since she announced the fee.
And so then all the people that she put up. Kamala is so smart. Everybody was saying, even the Republicans, oh, she's going to announce it in Philadelphia. That's where, what's his name is from? What's his name? We thought was going to win. Huh?
Yeah, the governor over there. I can't remember his name.
I can't think of his name either. Well, thank you, because at least I know it ain't my age. It's just like anyway, they thought he was going to do it. And he is for them. Then all the young people was going to be against that. And especially the black ones in the colleges and everything else. And so, and then she kept saying, I'm going to announce it in Philadelphia. I'm going to announce it in there. I'm going to announce it. And then when he came out, then the day before that day, she came out and she announced it. And then there they are with all these MAGA people already ready to do all they dirt, ready to say everything about whatever, and then don't even do it. And then he gives an 18-minute speech that was off the CHAIN, off the chain. And so then they thought that he was going to do it. And then they said, well, who else are they going to get? I didn't think that they were going to do it. I didn't think it was going to be him, because everybody thought that it was. And that's one thing that we as Black people, especially those who are closer to your age and a little bit younger than my age, they flip the script. They make you think I'm going to go right and I'm going to go left. And that's what they did. Tim Walsh, nobody thought he was going to do nothing. He's just a regular guy that people fell in love with. And he had been a voting Republican and doing this. And now he all in her Kool-Aid. He's all that. And the other people that were there. This is so awesome. I cannot believe it, because I should have thought of all of that, because that's how I roll. But I didn't. Oh, that's the mailman. Hey, Gary. I heard somebody at my door. I think they say, "Is that an earthquake or something?" That's my mailman. And so
Yeah,
I'm just saying. And so now Kamala, she ain't got but a little few days to do this, and
yeah,
she's doing it where Trump don't get the news, even on his station, all of it, cause the Olympics. Ooh, booyah
yeah.
again.
You know
They
they
taking
scheduled.
the ball.
He scheduled something in Pennsylvania yesterday too.
Right. Yeah, right. But it was
But it didn't
nothing
get
like
no
what
play.
we
It
had.
didn't get no play. It didn't get no play like what. Every time she steal his thunder, just like after that little fake ear situation, and
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, boom! Then Biden dropped the bomb on him because
yeah.
he's riding high. Yeah, look at me, I got this. And then a couple of days later, the Kamala situation came out, and here she is on the platform. So that took away from his little ear fiasco, because he wanted to have his ear fiasco be the part of the news cycle that he was going to keep using
They,
over and over and
they
over and
show
over again. But,
right.
but they stole his
Key,
cycle from him.
they showed people telling the secret, the police, look, there's a man on the roof. I see him. He's up there. He been here. And everybody, I don't know if the Secret Service was in it or not. I don't know why they didn't see, why they didn't move. We talking about videos with them showing him, zooming in on him, and then they killed him. And to
You
make
mean
it look real, how a bullet gonna hit the side of, if a bullet hit my ear, a big old giant tornado bullet, and it's not gonna blow part of my brains out right behind my ear, because he got big old giant ears like that. And it should have done that. He got that little bandage on it, kept it on there. I remember when we were little kids, and for Halloween, you could go to a fancy store and buy a little packet that looked like blood. And then you hit it on your mouth and you look like Dracula, blood running down, not lipstick and stuff. And I'm just saying, so he thought he was going to do that. That didn't work
didn't
because
work? It didn't work.
and so
When they showed him
everybody
on TV yesterday, he ain't had no bandage on his ear, and his ear looked fine.
he was on the camera, and when he was talking to the black journalist, he got busted there. He came on there. The lady, I talked about it before. The lady, they wore colors. The first lady, she had on blue. She black. The one in the middle had on black. The other one was from Fox News. She had on red. I'm sitting there saying, they don't even have to pass out agenda. I know who everybody is based on, and I ain't saying nothing, but Kevin and you and I, what do we talk about? Crips and Bloods. What are the colors? Red and blue. Booyah! Still gang banging. That's what they're doing. And then Kamala came out with Waltz. That man is so easygoing, such a good guy, such a good guy. And so the people, and then while they were waiting and playing the music, they was playing all the sounds of Philly. I'm going crazy,
Oh
with the
yeah,
music that they were
and they
playing.
play some
While they
Motown.
were,
They play some Motown.
yeah,
They play some
yeah,
Motown.
yeah,
They play
all
the
that.
Motown too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that. That was just great. And so now Trump, JD Vance, he ain't nobody. We ain't hear nothing. They got busted on the news, and what happened with that is just so much stuff right now. So right now we had the Olympics, and everybody in the United States of America, black, they winning all kind of golds, all kind of silver, all kind of bronze, doing everything that some people was talking about. Somebody need to do something with what's her name's hair, talking about
Talking about
Simone.
Simone
Yeah,
Biles.
what they gonna do about
Simone's
her
like, I
hair?
ain't worried about I ain't worried about my hair. I'm trying to get these gold medals.
Yeah,
So
and
she
that's
won the gold. Who cares what her hair looked like?
yeah, they looking for something. I haven't Trump and what's his man's name again? His partner ain't done nothing yet. and they haven't seen nothing yet because all the other states gonna come up. They're even the sad part is that some of those little young people in California, you know, who were going up against what's happening, you know, in Israel, all that was a setup. And I've said this before. All that was a setup because Israel is supposed to have the greatest dome in the world, the greatest technology, the greatest defense team. And then here's a little country over there shoot and kidnap all those people and get away with it. And whenever I asked anybody, well, who's the president of Gaza? Who's the president of Hamas? Well, I said, she said, well, you can look it up. I said, I don't need to look it up because it's not about them. This was the guarantee. And now we finding out that Trump, while he was in office, got $10 million from Egypt in cash. And I mean, I said, I keep on saying, I gotta go to sleep. I can't watch this all day long. But I don't want to miss none of it, kid. I don't want to miss none of them. And I have been on radio shows. I call in and I told Dr. Karinga, Dominique, Carl Nelson, all of them. I said, I want my joy back. I want my joy. I'll get up to do something, then I want to go to sleep. I don't want to do nothing because I haven't been happy. And then when Tim Walsh finished his speech, he said, thank you for the joy. Oh my goodness. Because I know scripture says the joy of the Lord is my strength. So I had this whole book full of stuff that I was ready to talk about today, but that's okay. We'll get it another time because it is what it is. We might have, today is what, Wednesday? We might turn around and do a show Friday. We don't have
that's up to you. It's up to you.
This ain't ABC, CBS. We gotta do it. Kpvideo podcast. I know what a pod is. Pod is where you put a seed. A seed is inside of a pod. And whatever, when you break that pod open, I don't know whatever gonna come out because it depends on the pod that it's in. So it is what it is with Molly Bell and Keith Parker. And so we got this. We got this. We're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna look up Melvin Farmer's book. I'm gonna look to see. I have it here autographed. And the thing is, Kevin came on, but he didn't even know what I knew. He said, you want to write a book. I could tell him, I'm nice. I could have said, I am a book. I know this. I knew this.
Knowledge needs to be shared. Knowledge needs to be shared. Yeah, that's one thing that I never ever understood, because as a young man trying to make my way through society, I would always go to like I said, the older people and listen, but I would also go to older people and ask for advice. And you would be surprised how little information that you can get from certain people. I mean, your own people that will withhold knowledge from you. When you just like, well, hey, I see you're a business owner. How did you do this? How did you do that? And I would get those answers like, well, I got mine. You got to get yours. That's not what I asked you. I just asked you a simple question. You don't have to. I know you may be a busy person and you don't have the time to break it down section by section, little by little, but at least put me on the right direction and say, well, hey, go to school, take some classes and business classes. Give me something positive that I can work with. Don't withhold information from other Black people. Share information. The more we share, the more we can unite and the more we can be powerful as a people again,
Well,
because we need it. We need unity.
back in the day when Carl Nelson's show used to come on, and I used to call in all the time on his show, although he does one at WOLDC News, and he's broadcasting out of Baltimore, Maryland. And in it, and Baltimore has always been a town. You know, I do poetry. There was a poem that went, once while walking in Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean looking straight at me. Now he was white and very tall, and I was no whit bigger. And so I spoke to him and smiled at him, and he poked out his tongue and called me nigger. I saw all of Baltimore from May until December. But of all the things that happened there, that's all that I remember. So I'm saying that back in the day, Baltimore, that's one of the oldest cities. They said that Baltimore has the worst streets because when they were building the streets, they were for horse and carriage. They weren't building them for cars and trucks and all like that and everything. And so Baltimore is something. And I'm just saying that for myself. And I love poetry, people. My best one was The Creation. I'll do that another time. And a whole bunch of them, that poems that I love doing. Here's my second one, just right quick. A little black boy walks up to the merry-go-round and say, "Mister, where the Jim Crow section of your merry-go-round? Because I want to ride." In the South where I come from, black and colored, we can't sit side by side. And on a bus, we put in the back. But there ain't no back to a merry-go-round. Where's the seat for a kid that's black? When I grew up, I'm telling you, I love poetry. I love reading. And the awards I have, Keith, you will never, ever believe. But I have never, ever in my life got a dime. I don't have no foundation. I don't have no GoFundMe. I don't have anything. And people say, well, Molly, you just get online and ask for it. I don't have to ask. The birds that fly in the sky and eat the worms and pass out the seeds and do all that, they work, but God takes care of them. I'm counting on God to take care of me. Me and you never said, now Molly, let's do a show. And I didn't say, well, how much you gonna charge me? Or you didn't ever ask me, I'll do it, but it's gonna cost you this. There's so many people who are doing TikTok, pods, all this stuff. And I've been an influencer a long time ago when the number was small. But now you gotta have thousands and thousands. I got about 5,000 people that follow me. But you gotta have millions to get money. And I'm saying that if I were in it for the money, if you were in it for the money, and you know how much I like to talk, then you would have said, okay, I'll do this, but I'm gonna need at least a couple of $100, a month. And we could do the podcast as often as you want. Or it could have been the other way around. But that's not how we roll. Exactly. When you have a message and you good people, then you do it not for the money.
Do it for the love of the message.
That's right, because information is knowledge. And knowledge is power. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, 3 things we must do. We must first fight for the liberation of Black people. 2, end the system of white supremacy. See, a lot of Black folks call white folks white supremacists. Would you get mad if somebody said, Keith, you the supreme Black man? That wouldn't hurt your feelings. We calling them white supremacists. That's power. She said, don't call them white supremacists. You got to fight to end the system of white supremacy. And the third thing is replace it with a system of justice. And that's what we try to do. A system of justice. And Keith, this is just, this has been good. And sometimes I just be quiet and keep talking, because I know you're gonna say, if I say, Keith, I was gonna talk a little bit more, first thing out your mouth is, this your show. This your podcast. And I need to start posting it so that I can let my friends know, because I think you sent me the link.
Yeah, I send you the links.
Yeah,
this time I didn't get a chance to put a I usually like do a little short, put a short out to alert people. And I also like to go on Facebook and put a little short video out letting people know. But this time I don't know what happened. My head was someplace else, because I was distracted. I was distracted earlier and I didn't get a chance to put that out. But I'm going to put the video out on YouTube for people to see, for them to go to it. I'm going to send you the link for you to share it with people. You can, all you got to do is text it over to the people. Just touch the, when I send you the link on your phone, all you have to do is touch it with your finger, and then a little box is going to pop up and it's going to say share. And then you can touch that, and then your friends' telephone numbers will pop up. And when you touch their number, that video will automatically go to them. It'll automatically go to them.
And see, somebody else had told me the other day when they saw one, and they said, what you can do is, if you send it to me on my page, not on my phone, on Molly Bell, not the one Molly Bell straight out of Compton, because that's just when I first started learning how to do that. And I don't.
Yeah, I put it up. I put it on your page. I'll put it on your page.
On my page.
I always do.
But like I said, I didn't know. And then they told me all you have to do is, when you put it on, not on your phone, when they put it on your page, then you press share or tag people.
Share.
And you could tag, you could tag. I could tag up to like 100 people and send it to them. And then they could share it or watch it or don't. But I'm learning.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. That's all it takes.
Now I gotta go see what time. Isn't LeBron James? Didn't he hurt himself?
Oh, I don't know, because I haven't seen them. I haven't watched the men. I've been paying attention to the women. I get kind of hung up on watching the women's athletes. The men's athletes.
I gotta find me a chair like you. See, you always look so square. I move this way, and then I'm moving the wrong way. And
that's because I adjusted my camera. See, the last time, remember, my camera kept falling. So what I did was I glued a little base to the bottom of my camera, so it can't move. So I'm straight. I'm straight now. I don't have to worry about it moving. Yeah.
Well, mine is in a little holder. You know about that. But then the chair is from my Huey, Black Panther days. This is a big Cobra chair. I have, and so once you get on this side, it goes down, and then it goes down on this side. Is not next thing I look like I'm about to fall.
Yeah. I mean, you must be touching something. You be touching something and making it move.
Yeah, I did it on purpose just then. But anyway, so let's get ready to close. And Keith, I thank you so very much for opening it up with prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
I count on that. I didn't ask yet. I just said, wait a minute. Let me see if I can get some followers. And then I could say we could open it up with prayer, or make sure we close with prayer. But we're going to do this. and I am so pleased with what we're doing, and it's gonna be all right. So after we get off, we'll talk. My friend Lena Cole Dennis. Anybody out there from Compton, you know her. And like I said, her brother played on one of those football teams. She always tell me, and I forget. I go
Is she still
someplace.
there? She's still.
Yeah, but her eyes are closed. That don't mean she's
Oh,
asleep.
okay. Yeah, well, you
Lena,
need to
what's your
get to your
brother's
friend,
name? What
and y'all handle
his
your
name is
y'all.
Robin? Robin, Robin. His name is Robin Cole, and he played
Okay.
for Pittsburgh Steelers. He played for the
Still.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
He was the first round draft choice ever out of the University of defensive player out of University of Mexico.
He was the first round draft.
First round draft pick.
Defense player.
Defense player.
All right.
Out of what's that? What college? One of those colleges. Albuquerque or something like that. Because when we go someplace, we had gone, M&M's. One time, what did we go up there for? I know we went there for dinner for no special reason. And then one of the guys, I think he lived in Arizona or Vegas, and he knew Molly Bell back in the day. And then when he found out that Lena was related to Robin, he paid for our dinners. And so was, yeah,
that's cool.
Cool. They crossed. And so it's always good. And like I said, this is my friend, and I've been so proud of her. Next time that we do it, I'm gonna tell her to bring herself over here and sit down, and we're gonna put her on and let her talk, because she got a story to tell. She have a story to tell. If
that'll work. That'll work.
People that think Rockwell.
Yeah.
She's asking me to ask you.
The owner of Pittsburgh Steelers.
Do you know who the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I think that's the Kraft family.
No, she
Kraft family.
No, she just rang a bell and said, "Not wrong." She said it was. I think it was, but you said it sounded like it started with a C. I don't know.
I can't think, but he's the owner. I'll just have to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I do that.
I ended up being his best friend. Oh, Pittsburgh Steelers' best friend.
Okay.
When he died, family sent a letter saying.
Yeah. All right, Molly Bell from Compton. Where's that music I hear?
All right, wait a minute, hold on. If I hit answer.
If you hit answer, then you're going to disappear. You just locked the phone. Just locked it. Just locked it. Okay, folks, that was Molly Bell from Compton, and that was the It Is What It Is show. Molly, you still there? Are you still there?
Wait a minute, hold on.
Let
me go back to your page. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Let's end it.
Hold on. Let me.
Let's end this show right here.
Wait a minute, because I can hear you, but I don't know what to.
Hold on. Let me do it.
No. What do I hit, P?
I don't know what to do, because I don't know what happened, what you did. So let's just end it, and then we'll catch up on the next show.
I can hardly hear you. But
so we'll catch up on the next show. We'll do another show.
All right, yeah, but
I don't know how to get you back.
Okay. Love you. I shouldn't have answered the phone, but I did.
Yeah. All right. You take care.
All right. Love you. And prayer warriors keep fasting and praying because the struggle continues and always.
All right, that's Molly Bell, y'all. Molly Bell from Compton. Yep. But anyway, yes, KP. And that was a good show. They had a special guest, Kev Mack, that came in. And this is the Molly Bell It Is What It Is show with KP. And thanks to all the guests. Thank all the guests, all the people that popped in. Compton Girl, Pan African Designs, and a couple of other people that chimed in and with comments. Good to see that today. And we're gonna do it again. So next time, I think what I'm gonna try to do is at the end of the show, I'm gonna save all the questions to the end of the show, and I want you people to ask questions, as many questions as you want to ask, and we'll handle that at the end of the show, and that'll work. That will work. All right. Anyway, you know who it is. Yep. KP. It Is What It Is show. So It Is What It Is show with Molly Bell, y'all.
It is what it is show.
It Is What It Is show.
It is what it is show with Molly Bell, y'all.
All right, folks. Y'all take care.
It is what it is show with Molly Bell, y'all.
It is what it is.